Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm going to be going over some things about spark blocks, kind of how to install them, a couple different ways of installing them, and basically the ins and outs of them. Where I went to grab mine was, I believe, thornbros.com or something along those lines. But anyway, the point is that you got your spark block. Get your spark block, which generally these are made of titanium, and titanium make the whitest sparks when they drag on the ground. Then you got your mount, which the way that this works, and I'm sure you can see that this mount, of course this came with the little kit, this mount, the blocks hook directly to it, and they can easily be changed out, so that after you've dragged the crap out of them, you can change them out easy. So basically you got your bolts that go through, and you can see they're threaded. You attach them, put them on here, and then what you'll want to do is, I'll take this down. What you'll want to do is your mount that they send with the kit, unless you fabricate something on your own, the mount will then connect to, what I did was got some square stock, some thick square stock, and basically drilled 2 holes in the square stock and welded the the nuts on the inside of the square stock, and then ran the bolts straight through here. Now the way that this is designed is you want to put your drill your holes into your square stock basically as low down as you can get it, and then you'll mount it right here. And the way that these are designed is so that when you loosen these bolts, you can slide it down as your block gets used up. So now on mine specifically, I only did it on my passenger side so that when I 3-wheeled, the spark block would hit the ground and spark as I'm going in circles. So that's the main part. Now you want to make sure that however you do it, that you have support. So, and what I mean by support is you can't necessarily just take a real long piece of square stock and just hook it to the bottom and that be it, because even though the welds are going to be good, or hopefully they're good, you'll depending on how you drop onto them, they can break off the whole square stock, everything, unless you're mounting them just straight to the body or something along those lines. The point is that however you're going about it, you need to have some extra support, so some extra reinforcement would be good. Unless you're literally, you got your frame, unless you're welding the square stock directly to the side and you can weld it down the side, across the bottom, that'd probably be pretty good. It probably wouldn't do anything there. But how mine is you got your frame, and I'm going to show you here in a minute, but you got your frame and your square stock goes straight up to the frame. Well, that's not, even though the welds are pretty good, that's not exactly the most opportune mounting position, because when I 3-wheel, it's not going to be straight up and down, it's going to go sideways. So when I 3-wheel, the whole truck shifts sideways. So what I did was, you got your square stocks going just like this, and then you've got one that's doglegging kind of to a pivot or to an angle right here, so that when it drops down and hits that 3-wheel, it's pushing on this side, it's actually pushing into another portion of the frame. So, I added some additional metal so it would be more secure. So basically you got an L like this, and then a cross right here, a diagonal piece that's keeping it nice and flush. So now I'm going to drop down and show you what it looks like underneath the truck to give you an idea. But that's basically how the spark blocks work. They're very easy to install, and if you order them from that place that I was just referring to, I want to say it's Thorough Bros or something along those lines. If you order them from those, this is basically the kit that you get. You get 2 of them. I'm only using 1 just because I don't necessarily want to drag it all the time, but one other thing to point out, if you've got hydraulics or bags, basically what you'll want to do is, before you install it, drop your vehicle all the way down, and wherever you plan to mount it, you'll want to measure from the actual ground to the let's just say the top part of where you're going to mount it. So basically, if the top of the frame was 12 inches, you'll want from the top of the frame to the actual ground, let's just say that that's 12 inches. Alright, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to basically make from the top of the frame to the actual part where the spark block hits the ground, you're going to want to make sure that that is 12 inches basically. But you also want your mounts as far down as possible, so that when you start to use this up, you can detach it and start to slide it down, if that makes sense. Alright, so here's the underside. So as you can see, here's my square stock right here. Sorry it's dark, but here's your square stock right here, or if that's what it's called. Anyway, there's your metal, bringing it down right there, and then I've got the cross member right here, giving it additional support. Now with this frame, the square stock that you see going from left to right, I added only just because I wanted some additional stability. So anyway, so here's your spark block right here. It's mounted on the outside and it's ready to go. So used it many times, works great. None of the welds have acted funny or anything like that. It doesn't appear that the metal has moved at all, even though I've used it a bunch. So then for the other side, hopefully you can see that, how it's attached there. Yeah. So if I was to loosen those two bolts, I could still slide it down quite a bit. So hopefully that all makes sense to you there.